this age and times comes great ideas, sweet memories,
new techniques,
untold stories about Africa and the world at large. Guess what? The new age brings on board a brand name in broadcasting technology.
Introducing Age Television. At Age Television, we serve you with professionalism
in news and event coverage,
live streaming, documentaries,
artist management,
video and photography,
social media management, and lots more.
For inquiries, call us on +27 061 773 9628
or 027 064 543 0136.
You can also send us WhatsApp messages on 078 229 4593.
YouTube HTV/Durban. Tweet us at HTV Durban.
Facebook at HTV Durban.
Instagram at HTV.Durban.
Email us at htvdurban@gmail.com.
Visit our website on www.htv.co.za. Age Television, celebrating the uncelebrated.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Akpan on Akpan'S Diary, our flagship program on Age Television. And tonight we will be discussing something very important and strategic in Nigeria. We'll be talking about an ethnic group that is very visible in Nigeria and also known to spread across the world. An ethnic group that has made its mark in Nigeria and still making its mark in Nigeria. And this ethnic group has a cultural organization that pilots its affair, its cultural affair, and its relationship with other ethnic groups in Nigeria. So this cultural organization is structured across the whole world, and South Africa is not an exception. So today, this evening, we'll be speaking to the leaders of that cultural organization in South Africa to see the structure that they have in South Africa, their relationship with other ethnic groups, Nigerian ethnic groups in South Africa, and their unity, as it were. I'm talking about the Igbo ethnic group in Nigeria. The Igbo ethnic group in Nigeria is spread across 5 states, 5 southeastern states in Nigeria of Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Imo, and Abia. And they also have a strong root in Delta North and also in Rivers State, with some spillover in Akwa Ibom and Cross River. So you'll agree with me, it's an ethnic group that's spread across the entire Southeast and some 3 states also, 3-4 states also in the South-South geopolitical zone of Nigeria. And they are widely known for their commerce and industry, and also their travels and also trading. So tonight, we'll be discussing with the leadership of OHANEZE in South Africa. And to discuss with us, we have Mr. Louis Achinze. I'll give him the honor because he's a titled man. I'll give him the honor of introducing himself. And we're also waiting for the President General of OHANEZE South Africa to join us. And when he joins us, he'll make his introduction. So Mr. Louis Achinze, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah, could you just quickly give us a brief profile of yourself?
Okay. My profile is very simple. I'm Chief Louis Achinze. I hail from precisely Iguzo in Delta State of Nigeria. I'm a pure Igbo man. Even the name of my town speaks it all. Iguzo means Igbo, Benuzo. And I live here in South Africa. I am into travel and tour. I'm the director and CEO of Silent Travel and Tour, South Africa and worldwide.
And your position in
OHANEZE? I'm a stakeholder, member of IMOBI, and I'm not a member of the executive, but I happen to, many people think I'm an executive member because I was the chairman of the recently concluded EDG committee, and I've organized such events for OHANEZE NDIGBO South Africa 2 times, 2018 and 2022.
Okay. That's great. Let's start with clarification of some. A lot of people that are not Igbos have this confusion. Is it Igbo or Igbo?
Igbo, not Igbo, Igbo.
So where did Igbo come out from? Where did Igbo come out from?
Igbo is it is other ethnic groups that call them Igbo, but the real name is Igbo.
Okay. Igbo. So it is a corruption of other ethnic group that made it Igbo.
Igbo, yes.
Okay, I also thought it was part of the colonial relics that when the colonial masters were, if you like, I don't like to call them colonial masters, when the colonialists were in Nigeria, they couldn't pronounce Igbo, so they started calling it Igbo. But anyway,
Igbo,
let's move to something a lot more. You are from Delta State, from Ibuzo. That's a town that is close to Asaba.
Yes.
Okay, can you take us into how the Igbo ethnic group came into Delta State? And how many are which are the major towns in Delta State?
Okay, the Ndigbo, as we call ourselves, occupied the entire North Territorial District of Delta State. The east part of the Niger Bridge, the River Niger Bridge, is inhabited entirely by Indigbos, and the same people just cross over the bridge, over the river. They cross over the river and settle in the other bank on the western part of it, and continue to spread. Gradually, they moved up to the dam bank of the Benin Empire, where we have the Agbo people. And they also moved south up to the Ndokwa, to Abo, to Kwale, yes. And they moved into some part of Bayelsa State, down to River State. So it's actually the River Niger is like what the whites used as what the colonial power used as the boundary. But in those days, it's the same people that live in the two sides of the river.
But what about the history that also says that you talked about the Agbo people, which are basically the Ika people that occupy the Ika Northeast and Ika South. And they have a very strong influence of Benin culture. And so a lot of people think that the Ika people migrated from Benin. A lot of them came from Benin. That's why they also have Benin names like Obaigbena, Ovie, and all that, Irabo. And some also that came from the east, they all met and formed a melting point. That's one. Then Asaba also, they say some of Asaba people are from Benin, and Onitsha people also are from Benin. Until date, Ofala festival is very, very similar to the Igbe festival in Benin Kingdom. What do you say about that, sir?
In that sense, if you study the entire African culture, you will find out that basically Africans have almost the same culture, because in the past, Africans were migrating. People move from one place, settle in a land. Then as the population increases, they mix up with the people that are in other parts of the land, and they intermarry. And what happens is the majority now dominate. Sometimes they mix their languages, but why we say some people come from here is when the majority come from a particular ethnic group, then they dominate and they speak the language there. That is what happened in those areas.
Okay, and also during the political development of Nigeria, take for instance Asaba. Between 1967 and 1970, Nigeria fought a civil war, which was essentially fought against the old Eastern region. The old Eastern region currently has about 4 South states and 5 Southeastern states. So there were like 9 of the states of Nigeria were in the old Eastern region. I mean, the South states that are there now are geographically speaking, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Bayelsa, and Rivers. But when it came to Delta, like you said, there's a River Niger that separates Asaba and Onitsha. For instance, a popular actress in Nigeria called Stella Damasos says our original name is Stella Ojukwu. But after the war, a lot of them changed their name from Igbo name to some kind of funny names, and because they wanted to distance themselves and dissociate themselves from being called Igbo. Some of them are rather we call Anioma, so that they are not lumped into whatever the stigma that arose from the war. What's your thoughts on that? Luckily, you are even from Delta State, so I don't know if that also happened to people in Ibuzo.
Well, in Ibuzo, I have not seen a family that changed the name, and we have never distanced ourselves from where we come from, and nor did our culture change. We still stick to our names and our tradition, despite the great and the evil Asaba Massacre, which we suffered as people. We still identify ourselves as Ndibuzo. We never change even the town name. And we, as far as I know, I have not seen such name in Ibuzo. We still maintain our ancestral names.
Okay. Talking about the Asaba Massacre
carried
out by the Nigerian army during the Civil War, it's a raging point where, I mean, undocumented, some folklore and others says that a lot of male were killed, for instance, in places like Ogwachuku, in Delta State and all that. As an Igbo chieftain and elder statesman of Igbo in South Africa, would you say that the Igbos have moved on from after the Civil War? They've forgotten, and they've moved on. They embraced the reconciliation, reconstruction, and the whatever the 3 R's of General Gowon. Do you think the Igbos have moved on after the war, or they're still stuck with the memories of the war?
Thank you. The Igbo have moved on from the war, but the Nigeria as a nation have not moved away from the war. What I mean is that the Nigerian state still do not trust Igbo.
But the Igbo are part of the Nigerian state, so why wouldn't the government?
I mean the Nigerian government. Let me use the word. The Nigerian government.
The Nigerian government.
Or other ethnic groups, especially the northern ethnic group, precisely, do not still trust Igbo because of the nature, I believe, of the charisma and the nature of an Igbo man. The Igbo man have the spirit of domination. The Igbo man have the spirit to make things work out, to succeed. And despite the war, the destruction, the Igbo man still come back and dominate the commerce and the economy of Nigeria, in the west, in the north, everywhere. And because of that spirit and the zeal to prosper, other ethnic groups seem to see Igbo man as a threat. Hence, while the Igbo man have moved on investing in other parts of the world, in other parts of the country, the other ethnic group still find it difficult to invest in Igbo land. But the Igbo have moved on. That is the truth of the matter.
Okay, let's interrogate that further. The first part is, take for instance, the Civil War was fought against the old Eastern region had other sub-ethnic groups, what they call the minority ethnic group, Anangs, the Bibios, the Ogojas, the Efiks, and all that. They also fought the war. They are known as Biafra because it was geography, the old Eastern region. So certainly those ones that fought with the, interestingly, some of this minority group are also sub-Igbo ethnic group. But those ones clearly, are they also in the same challenge of facing the Nigerian government in terms of the distrust? Or do you think that the Nigerian government, and like you said, maybe dominated more by the Northerners, have only narrowed their distrust to the core Ndigbo, and they've allowed the others like the Bibios, the Ikweres and all that, and they're going to move on? Do you think so? That's on one part. Now, the other part is that you are from Delta State and you're looking at, you talked about investment. clearly, Lagos State is the west, the southwest of Nigeria is an attractive place to invest because of the ports. And because Lagos was the capital for a very long time. So they have infrastructure and that attracted a lot of investment. But this is not so much available in the core Southeast also. So you have a lot more. So what would be the motivation for a Yoruba person, for instance, to go to, say, Enugu, for instance, or Ebonyi to go and invest, rather than just invest in Lagos or Ogun State that is close to the port, looking at it from a business and economic point of view?
Yeah, thank you. The first question, let me answer the first question. The Civil War was fought from the Dembende, from Benin, Agbo, in fact, after Ore, the Shekiris all down to the east where the people that fought the war. Remember, Kaduna and Zogu was from Dembende State. And I can say the major people that fought the war, or the major battleground, yes, was the Dembende Midwest State, the then Midwest State. Now, since after the war, especially the northern part, do not trust the entire region. However, they still prefer the minority because they believe the minority, as the word minority means, can easily swap or can easily be moved. And they try to use what is called divide and rule policy, whereby when they pick a candidate from the south, they call the candidate Easterner. But in the geographical, post-Civil War geographical division, Nigeria is now divided into 6: East, West, South, Middle Belt, Northwest, and Northeast. Yes, Northwest and Northeast. Now, when you look at that geographical division, South and the West are more favored than in the East, which is 100% dominate Igbo-speaking area. That is it. Then on the issue of development, it is not because of port. Port Harcourt have big seaport. Port Harcourt, the first deep seaport in Nigeria, was built in One. Warri Excavers have deep seaport. Warri have got 2 big old and new ports. Calabar have big seaport, another little ports. Even there used to be a river port in Onitsha. The problem in Nigeria is during Obasanjo moved all the export to the west to favor his people. And because they know if they allow other ports in Calabar, Port Harcourt, and the west and the Warri to operate effectively, giving them the same condition like Lagos, most people would do their import through those ports. But because they wanted Lagos to be the business hub of Nigeria, they made it so. It is an artificially created business venture based on tribal sentiment, not because of natural geographical reason. Remember, Onitsha used to be the largest market in West Africa before Lagos. Onitsha used to be the center where people from Lagos come to buy things and take to Lagos. But during Obasanjo changed everything. That is what happened there. It's not good.
So you're saying Obasanjo during the military regime of Obasanjo?
Yes, that was when Apapa was made the major seaport, and they stopped other ships from offloading in Calabar, Port Harcourt, and Warri. Rather, they now said, let the oil companies be using those ports. It became a dedicated port.
If you look at the maritime nature of Nigeria, Nigeria has a coastal line, and from geography, the coastal points that are actually deep in Nigeria are the coastal point of Akwa Ibom. I think Oron area is the deepest in Nigeria, and then there's a part of Lokola in Ondo State is also deep. Calabar, Port Harcourt, I'll limit my conversation to Calabar and Port Harcourt because they are in the eastern region, the Biafran region, if you like. They are still dredging them. So they couldn't have taken so much of high ship. That's on one ground. But don't you think that the concentration of business, economic activities in Lagos in Lagos, all the industrial. Yes, I know that Port Harcourt and Aba and I think Calabar also had MI Okpara created industrial estates there. But don't you think that Lagos had that advantage as the state capital of Nigeria for country capital for a very long time? And Lagos also being a coastal state. Okay, and Lagos was even a colony before it was integrated into the Southern Protectorate. Lagos has been a colony since 1891. Don't you think that gave Lagos, one, historical advantage, two, political advantage, and infrastructural and economic advantage as against a political management of the Obasanjo Muritala regime? And in any case, weren't there people from the Southeast in that military regime from when Muritala took over power until Obasanjo handed over power in 1979? Don't you think there were also people from the Eastern extraction in that government that could have prevented that kind of policy, if indeed that policy happened?
Number one, yes, Lagos have the advantage of being the headquarters. Just like right now, many companies are moving to Abuja. Many companies' headquarters are presently moving to Abuja. Lagos had that advantage of being capital. But the issue of what really killed the East economy was the concentration of importation. Nigeria is a country that depends so much on importation of things. And when it's where the things come in, that the logistic companies are located, remember? And logistic company employ a lot of people. The clearing and forwarding
that's why the banks will be also.
Yes. So those things contributed. If you see most of the area that are selling cars, Mazda, all those things, they sell cars in Lagos. People go from other parts of Nigeria to buy car in Lagos. But if those other ports were utilized, people will not be going to Lagos like that. People will be going to Calabar, going to Port Harcourt, going to Warri to buy their own cars. So that is the issue. And on the issue of people being in the government, it depends on the position you occupy. Remember, in the military regime, the president called the shot. It's a command structure. Even during the civilian regime that, remember, it is the president that appoints and give order to most of the things, the programs the minister execute in the Nigerian system, just like most African countries.
Okay. I'm trying to get this historical and political background because eventually it will affect the living condition of Ndigbo outside Nigeria and with other ethnic groups, which is a core area we want to focus on. I'll just take one more question on the home front because OHANEZE has its roots in Nigeria, and whatever happens in Nigeria will eventually affect what has happened outside Nigeria. Let us take the Ikwere people, for instance. The other time, Wike said, oh, I'm not Igbo, I'm Ikwere, and all that. And then you have the issue of the abandoned properties, where it is alleged that a lot of Riverians, maybe some Ikwere people and all that also, and they own Port Harcourt, took over some, if you like, some properties of people that ran away during the war, because the war was also fought in Port Harcourt, being in the old Eastern region. So what do you think the relationship is like? And do you think, like you said, the Igbos they have a domineering spirit. Do you think that domineering spirit is actually a problem that is working against them, that other people might say, oh, why do you want to dominate me? No, certainly nobody wants to be dominated. What do you think about
that? You are correct. It's a natural phenomenon in life for people to try to fight domination. It's just like the world now, just like China is dominating. People are putting some resistance. But on the issue of Ikwere people, that is another issue entirely. I remember before in the 80s, Ikwere people used to study Igbo as a language in school. Then later, the military governor of the then River State removed the Igbo language and tried to change the orientation of the people that they are not Igbos. Ikwere name is Igbo name. Amechi is Igbo name. Uike is Igbo name. So for a governor to say it's not an Igbo man, it's a political statement. Yeah, we hope that he will be favored in his presidential bid. Remember, an Igbo man is seen as a threat in the Nigerian state.
Okay, let us take that relationship, that rather staggered relationship in Nigeria among the Igbos and also other ethnic group. Now, let's bring it to South Africa. First and foremost, let us look at the structure of OHANEZE in South Africa before we get into the relationship with other people. Now, South Africa has 9 provinces and also with a lot of cities in among those 9 provinces. What is the structure of OHANEZE in South Africa? And then the OHANEZE South Africa, does it have any kind of affiliation to OHANEZE in Nigeria? Does the President General of OHANEZE in South Africa liaise or relates with Professor George Obiozor, who is the President General of OHANEZE worldwide and is based in Nigeria? Is there a relationship, and what is the structure of OHANEZE in South Africa?
Okay, thank you very much. OHANEZE Ndigbo South Africa is the 4th diaspora structure of OHANEZE worldwide. This is the first, before even America. And from inception, OHANEZE Ndigbo South Africa have always aligned with the mother body in Nigeria. OHANEZE Ndigbo South Africa have been participating in the election of OHANEZE in Nigeria. There is no election that takes place in Nigeria that South Africa and US do not participate. We send delegates and they vote. And when election is about to take place here, OHANEZE in Nigeria, the headquarters is informed and they are aware of the new leadership. And they collaborate, they communicate. The leadership of OHANEZE South Africa speak directly with the president of OHANEZE Ndigbo worldwide and the secretary and all the structures there. And here in South Africa, OHANEZE Ndigbo South Africa try to replicate the same structure we have in Nigeria. Because OHANEZE in Nigeria allow us to what is called peculiar environment. That means you look at what is happening there and you try to adjust it to what is happening back at home. And in that structure, we have the National Executive Council, headed by the President General of OHANEZE Ndigbo South Africa, with the executive. We have the state leaders structure of the 7 Igbo-speaking states, 5 including Rivers and Delta. Then we have the Board of Trustees structure. We have IMOBI. IMOBI is the political and political decision-making body of OHANEZE, like what we call the Senate. It constitutes of all 7 ex-presidents of OHANEZE Central and all serving presidents of all the 7 states and the Secretary General, with elected people and the Eze in council and all the Igwe. We replicate the traditional structure here. We have the Igbo, we have the Onewundi. We also have the cultural and Igbo King Cabinet, the Eze in council here. And in all the provinces, except Free State for now, we have the Igwe. We have the OHANEZE structure. In all the provinces, we have the chairman, we have the executive, so the provincial executives, we have the Igwe and the cabinet and the Eze in council in all, except Free State, which we are still working upon now. And I believe before the end of next year, the structure we emerge there.
How do you elect an Igwe? For instance, let's take Free State, for instance. You said before the end of next year, they probably would have had the structure. How would an Igwe emerge? Is it a function of royalty, or is just that a group of people will meet together and just appoint somebody, an Igwe?
Okay. Before the constitution was drafted, it was the Igbo which was elected select or approve the existing Igwe. But after the constitution was adopted, there is the traditional council, governing council, consisted of all the Igwe, the state leaders, the Mobi chairman, the trustees, and the council too, Eze council. So these people, for instance, now, when the OHANEZE decide to have a Igwe in Free State, there must be OHANEZE. First, there must be structure of OHANEZE. OHANEZE must exist there. There must be chairman. There must be elected structure of OHANEZE, and they will now inform the people that we want to choose the Igwe. Then the people that are interested, the candidate will signify, and will be screened. There are criteria. You have to have a place for palace, you have to have a permanent resident or be a citizen, and many other criteria stipulated in the Constitution. Now they will screen them and now send the list of the screen candidates to the national body, which will now sit, the Traditional Council will now sit and approve who they want to give the Igwe to.
Okay, thanks for the explanation, but one, is there the Igwes in other provinces, are they of equal status, or there is an Igwe that is higher than all the Igwes? Is there a paramount Igwe, or all of them on the same level?
Okay, we have the Eze Igbo of South Africa, and that is the Eze, the king of Igbos in South Africa, which is based in Johannesburg. And we have the Onowu of Ndigbo in South Africa, which is his prime minister and his national cabinet. Now, the Igwes in other provinces are now member of this Eze Igbo Council too. And because they head other provinces, they are under the national Eze. They Igwe in all the provinces are on the same level. No one is higher than anyone. They are all under the Eze Igbo, the national Eze Igbo.
Okay. Okay. So I'll take it to mean that
Eze Igbo is the supreme. The Eze Igbo is the supreme Eze Ndigbo. Then the Igwe is the provincial Igwe of Ndigbo.
Okay.
I think that explanation.
For all these people, they don't necessarily have to come from a royal family. It is what it is done. It is an arrangement in South Africa. OHANEZE in South Africa here.
Yes, they are not from. There is no stipulation that you must be from royal family, but the stipulation is that you must be a title holder
From home. Back from Nigeria.
Back from Nigeria, yes. You must have performed the traditional before you are qualified for it.
Okay, all right. Now, can there be conflicts? For instance, another Igwe might just emerge, maybe somewhere in Gauteng, and say, "Oh, I'm the Igwe. Every other Igwes are under me. I'm the Igwe of Igwe, and all that." Controversies can arise because it is not royalty. So some people can just rise up and lay claim to this too. Now, are there situations like that currently? And if there is any situation like that, what is OHANEZE doing to manage that situation?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, all the crowned Igwe by OHANEZE are given certificate by OHANEZE. It means, like they have the Igwe of Limpopo, you have the Igwe of Western Cape, all those other Igwe, they were crowned by OHANEZE and given certificate by OHANEZE. It means they operate under OHANEZE structure. Now, if by virtue of love of power, any of them stand up and claim that is supreme to others, number one, there is nothing like that. Then number two, there are ways to deal with them. Remember that OHANEZE is an association, it's not a state.
It's a cultural association.
OHANEZE cannot arrest, detain, or jail. The only thing OHANEZE can do is to follow disciplinary action. Such Igwe can be suspended, and if that suspension does not work, the constitution of OHANEZE provided for a process for the removal of Igwe.
But have you had any kind of situation like that?
Yes, presently there is one calling himself Paramount King of Nigeria, Obi of Obi, Royal Father of the whole world, all those things. And when it started, many thought it was a joke, but when it now become an abusive, and the same person now become a threat, want to become a problem to the same organization that made him Igwe, he suspended, and for now, that is how it is.
Well, how did he emerge? Because
so
you just said that OHANEZE will have to coronate an Igwe, but now you say that he just emerged. How did he emerge if wasn't OHANEZE present in making him? And for him to be making those kind of claims, does he have a legitimate right to make those kind of claims if he was indeed coronated by OHANEZE or even from Nigeria?
Okay. You see, I told you that before the constitution came, there was no laid down rules. It was when they said they want to have Igwe, people will apply, and you know, when there is no rule, go into display. And for me, no matter how, no leadership is perfect. And despite the fact that there is no rule, I can boldly call the OHANEZE past leadership and the traditional council, give them 95%. Because if out of 8 or 9 Igwe that have certificates, only one is Judas, it means they passed. You see, you cannot, in most cases, know the character of a man until you give that person power. They say power corrupt, absolute power corrupt. So those people that were elected or were crowned as Igwe were crowned based on their character and their loyalty to Ndigbo at that very particular point in time. But as some of them, maybe this particular one or have his own interior motive, thinking that when it's made Igwe, he can swap his way to become a Igwe or that thing. That is a different topic for discussion. But because OHANEZE is a cultural organization that have their own way of doing things, they lay down rules and principles. Such things cannot happen. Even in an organization, even in company, we see where some people want to take over power that do not belong to them. So are
you saying that this Igwe was not in any way coronated? Are you calling him a usurper?
He was coronated. He was coronated for a particular province. He's of equal status with other provincial Igwe.
And he has a certificate of coronation also.
He has a certificate of coronation as Igwe of a province, not Igwe of South Africa. There's nothing like Igwe of South Africa. What we have is Eze Igbo, South Africa. And as a stand, Eze Igbo is Akwewebe. Eze Akwewebe still remains the Eze Igbo of South Africa.
Okay, so what effort has your association done to manage the situation? If, for instance, you are saying that, I will assume that the Eze Ndigbo is also resident in Johannesburg, and the other one, like you said, is also in Johannesburg. So there are 2 Ezes in Johannesburg. It's just that one is meant to be higher. Is that the reason why there's power tussle, if you like?
And there is no power tussle, because one person cannot be a power tussle to the community. What we have is rascalism. Let me put it as rascalism. The word rascalism. Yes, that is what is taking place. There's nothing like power tussle, because there cannot be a power tussle. There's only power tussle where there's no clarity.
Why hasn't Ohaneze resolved the issue, knowing that he is a coronated Igwe? Why haven't they called him to order to discuss this matter internally? Isn't there a conflict resolution mechanism within Ohaneze in South Africa to manage such a development?
Yes, there is, and they've called him to order. They've called meeting about him 1 or 2 times, and he have even signed undertaking with his own people to be on good behavior. But when the thing did not change, the last president of OHANEZE, the last regime of Chief Julius Osakwe, put him on suspension. And that suspension have also been stamped by the present regime, because there's no what is called changes. And when an elder in the community now become a nuisance, and the community, we have what OHANEZE have done for now is there are processes. Remember, the organization have their own processes of doing things, and they have to follow the process.
But isn't there, why not reconciliation? Why suspension? Why not just reconcile the issue?
You can reconcile when the person you are reconciling with is ready for peace. You cannot reconcile somebody who, after making peace, after talking peace with him, will within 2 minutes go to the social media and start calling, disrespecting, abusing the same people that just finished having peaceful meeting with him. Reconciliation comes with repentance, remember, and forgiveness. When there is no starting to even, when the person have not, when nothing have been done to the person, but rather the person is trying to absorb power that do not belong to him, the best thing is the process of calling the person to order. And when that is done 1 or 2 times, and the person did not change, even in working places, you give warnings and you suspend. So the organization have their constitution, and they have the conflict resolution mechanism. The UMOB is the one that resolves conflict. And the UMOB, before any suspension or anything can take place, the UMOB must be well briefed.
Okay, let me ask 2 quick questions. Don't you think that there might be need to have recourse to Nigeria, to OHANEZE in Nigeria, to help resolve this issue? That's the first question. The second question is that since he was coronated as the Igwe in Gauteng over some people, that means he will have some people that are still supporting him, that are still with him, they are still loyal to his tool. So isn't that going to bring disunity among the Igbos, particularly in Gauteng?
Thank you very much. In every organization or in every home, even Hitler, with all the atrocity committed, he still have people loyal to him. We are not talking of people loyal to a person, but we are talking of what the majority feel about the person. When you are in any organization or in leadership, you measure your popularity by the people, not by the 4 or 5 people that sit around you to advise you and to support you even when doing anything. So as it stands, the leadership of OHANEZE NDIGBO have been engaging each other. The issue is not limited here. OHANEZE NDIGBO worldwide will be, I'm sure they are aware of development, because OHANEZE NDIGBO South Africa give quarterly report to the national body. I'm sure it was captured when it was suspended, and the national body are aware of it. In a situation where a crown Igwe work against our national program. In a situation where a crime will threaten the mission to shoot them if they attend our needed program. How do you reconcile? How do you sit with such a human being to discuss? There's always a red line. And when the red line is crossed, there must be processes for study.
Are there some prominent Igbo people in Gauteng that is also sitting with him? And do they have a reason for that?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Let's look at
if they are, it means they are trying to satisfy their selfish interest.
Okay. Let's look at. They are. So would you say that the totality of Igbo people are united in South Africa? Is there unity in South Africa among the Igbos? I was asking if you think that there's unity among the Igbos in South Africa.
No, there is no unity. The truth is there is no unity as we expect them to be.
There's no unity,
as a tribe that have been marginalized back at home. It is expected that those in the diaspora will be more united. But what we see is among the Ndigo, we also have what is called state affiliation and loyalty, unnecessary and blind loyalty to individual, either because they feel the person bank account is large, because some people believe in worshiping money. Even if your brain is, even if a primary school child is more intelligent than the person, as long as the person's bank account is huge, some people will be loyal to him. And that is what, even in Nigeria, that is what is putting in people where they are.
So are you now saying that is that character traits that you just said, is that more of a problem than the, like you said, the people from the north? Is it that the Igbos are not even united themselves? That is why they're having the issues, are not necessarily people from the north. And you just said, used a very strong word, that they worship money. Essentially, that is materialism, and that is not values that bring solidarity and development.
Yes, 100%. Let me use an example. The President General of OHANEZE, in the person of Honorable Douglas Wanike, is a man blessed with knowledge. The young man is a born leader. Anybody that have met him, discussed with him, will know that he is a born leader. Leadership is inborn. You cannot learn to be a leader. You can learn to be a ruler, not a leader. Now, some people feel that to be a leader, it must be determined by your bank account or by the size of your money. That is why in Nigeria, during election, we sell our conscience and we suffer. That spirit of materialism, that spirit of worshiping money, they don't care how the money is made. They don't care if the person is a drug dealer, if he's a criminal, if he's a whatever way, if he's a ritual killer, as long as they have money to spray, not even for a project, because there is no equal organization that have established a project in South Africa. Even the so-called money-backed organization, the only way they spend their money is funeral and end of the year party. Sharing 400,000, spending 800,000 on the party, when they are busy renting the hall for the party. That will show you how dumb and how senseless our people are in this country. In fact, I can categorically say it, that the worst set of Indigo in the diaspora are based in South Africa. Wow. And that is what we are experiencing here. The worst set of Indigo in the world are based in South Africa.
Why is that?
Because of high number of illiteracy. High number of illiteracy. If you go to America, if you go to USA, most of the Indigo, they are professionals, educated, first degree. The lowest you will see is high school with diplomacy. But in South Africa, without fear of favor, 70% are illiterate. When we say illiterate, we mean illiterate.
Stark illiterate.
70% did not finish their high school. 50% did not finish primary school. And when such people are in a foreign land and they come here, many of them learn how to speak little English here in South Africa. And their character, their composure, their way of life speak a lot about it. And that is the problem we have here. Until that generation of people get into retirement and allow the good and sound mind to take over, Ndigbo will continue to remain where they are. Because remember, the worst thing is, according to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, a man without education is like a dead man. His brain is dead. He may be thinking, but his thinkings are very, very low. How
would you say that the present President General does not have the total loyalty of Ndigbo in South Africa? Is his administration being sabotaged or being undermined?
Yeah, no President General have ever had their full loyalty. But when you have somebody that have program, somebody that is steadfast, somebody that do not worship money, somebody that do not go with them drinking and sin at a blue label, they see him as an outcast. They see him as not belonging to that club.
Which of the state is he from?
He's from River. And another thing that to them is they see him as a man from the minority.
A fringe Igbo, not core Igbo.
He's from River State. They know what is called Igbo, because you cannot say you are a core Igbo. What makes them called Igbo? The languages are different. The Igbo of our Onitsha is not the same Igbo they speak in Noka. It's not the same Igbo they speak in Owerri. The Igbo they speak in Abakaleke is not the same Igbo they speak in Rivers. So, who is then a core Igbo? That is part of the illiteracy we are talking of. Because an educated Igbo man will not tell you it's a core Igbo.
Because if you look at, take for instance, people from Imo State will say Echa Garaga, while people from Anambra Axis will say one Nenya. So there are dialectical differences.
That's what I'm saying.
So people from so is this current President General having these issues because they see him as somebody from, I assume he's an Ikwere man, and they see him as, oh, this one is Ikwere, cannot be our, is that the case here?
No. The problem starts for the fact that he's a young man.
As a young man.
He's a young man, and he do not belong to that old brigade. And we call them old brigade. Those old brigade that believe that money is everything. Those old brigade that do not see intellectualism as a factor of life. Those same old brigade that do not see you as a wise man if you don't have money. Those same old brigade that believe even if you're a criminal, a wanted criminal, as long as you have money, you are supposed to be a leader. Since you do not belong to that corrupt old brigade, they see him as a threat to their existence. That is why he's not getting their support.
If there's this issues within OHANEZE, then how is OHANEZE, let me ask a hypothetical question. How is OHANEZE making effort to unite people of the old Eastern region? Old Eastern region, then you can add Delta State to it, to the old Eastern region, because I know Delta State was in Midwest, it was in Midwest. But how then is OHANEZE trying to unite the whole old Eastern region? Because I know that there is an agitation for Biafra Republic, and there's no way you can have Biafra without the old Eastern region. I mean, talking about the other minority groups in among them. So what is OHANEZE doing to unite? If there's so much of division within them, schism, what are they doing to unite the old Eastern region? If there's any program towards that effect at all.
Yes. Here in South Africa, they have the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta Forum consists of Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Rivers, the Chekiri, the Jos, Yeah,
But the
Bayelsa.
Abia is in
Now,
Niger Delta. Imo is in Niger Delta.
yeah, we
Ondo State
know,
is in Niger
but
Delta.
in South Africa, those people, most of them are the minority. I know that is geographical. I'm talking of the formation of the organization.
The political.
The Ondo people here in South Africa are members of Ududua Society Association. Now because they shift over. Now, what is happening is this. The present president of OHANEZE NDIGBO have a very strong loyalty from the Niger Delta group. He is also a member, he was, and I think he's still a member of Niger Delta region, and he coordinates with them. In fact, the present president, to my own knowledge, have also made a lot of moves to bring on other ethnic groups, the Yorubas, the Hausas leadership, into a sort of leadership forum to push forward the agenda of our people. Remember, as it stands today, we have two organizations that claim to be apex body of Nigerian people, NUSA, and we have NICASA. And these two organizations have divided Nigeria, whether we like it or not, whether we want to accept it or not. The reality is there. And one of the agenda the present president did when he came into power was to see a way to unite Nigerians. And I believe he's still working on that agenda. And I believe with time, we start seeing the result. Remember, to work with people is not easy. There must be sabotage, there must be cry, because some people believe they are benefiting from the present division of arrangement among Nigerians, but it cannot continue forever. Every evil team has an expiry date.
Okay, if I understand your explanation, so it means that the current President General of OHANEZE possibly is also a member of the Niger Delta region, because he's actually from Niger Delta also, coming from Rivers State.
Yes, I'm also OHANEZE and Niger Delta too.
Yes, so my question then was that, because most of the Niger Delta, since you've also explained that the Niger Delta you're talking about is not geographical, but political. So what therefore is the effort to unite OHANEZE and Niger Delta? Because the Niger Deltans we are speaking about are actually from Old Eastern region. So is there a program, or do the other Igbos from maybe the Southeast see him as somebody from South and therefore they don't want to have loyalty to him? Is there any program towards that kind of unification?
Okay, as far as OHANEZE is concerned, Igbo is an Igbo. Whether you are from Benin, whether you are from Igala, all Igbo are members of OHANEZE by default. Any Igbo man in South Africa is a member of OHANEZE. And that is why OHANEZE NDIGBO is the largest organization in South Africa. Because 80% of Nigerians in South Africa are Igbo people. That have been established. Now, because the Igbo people are the majority, and OHANEZE is the organization, the umbrella, worldwide umbrella of India. The leadership have been in contact communication with other ethnic groups. The leadership of OHANEZE have never favored marginalization of other ethnic groups. The leadership of OHANEZE have always favored zoning of positions so that Igbo will not dominate everything. However, you know, in every arrangement in life, you always have people that always have their personal interest. And those people are always out to undermine. So they can never be a perfect situation. But what matters is the agenda and how focused the spirit.
Okay, let's move to the relationship with other ethnic groups that are not from the eastern part of Nigeria, like say the southwest, the Yoruba people, and also in the north. I'm not sure what is the population of the northerners in Nigeria. When I mean north, I'm referring specifically to the Hausa Fulani, not the other minority groups in the north. So what kind of relationship does OHANEZE have with the Yoruba people? And I think they have an umbrella body called Oduduwa, also Omo Oduduwa, and the Hausa Fulani community. What kind of relationship do you relate? Or do they still, or does the problem in Nigeria, was the problem in Nigeria exported to South Africa? So they see maybe the Yoruba, the Hausa people see the Ndigbo as being domineering and trying to grab their space and all that. Or is that the experience you have? Is it the same replication of the Nigerian situation? Or there's a whole lot of cooperation and unity among the East, the West, and the North here?
Okay, what I see is when you come to regional organization communicating with each other, as far as Nigerian community is concerned, they are doing well. Because I know, I happen to be close to the leadership, some of the leadership of Arewa, some of the leadership of Yoruba, and leadership of OHANEZE. And I know they communicate, they discuss programs with each other. Where there's crisis, they communicate with each other on how to solve it. And if you watch the agenda, the present situation Nigerians are sitting, all the ethnic groups, Yoruba, OHANEZE, Arewa, none of them have come out fully to endorse one organization as the what they call it, apex organization for Nigeria, for Nigerians in this country. None of them. Prior to Mikasa, it was NUSA that was formed by all these people. But when the crisis in NUSA happened, up till now, none of them have officially, after disassociating themselves from NUSA activities, have officially endorsed any organization at the apex body. Hence, there is no venue for them to meet, to have such discussion. But on one-to-one basis, they do cooperate. That I am 100% sure. Okay.
So in conclusion, as we are concluding, so of course you may not know what is going on in other cultural organizations except OHANEZE and perhaps the Niger Delta area.
I know a lot about.
Do they also have, are there divisions in other cultural organizations like the Niger Delta area?
You see, division is part of human history. If there is no division, there will not be cities and towns. So division is part of human history. People that leave one city to form another city, live there out of grievances, out of love for freedom. The Yorubas do not have a one organization. They don't
have a united organization.
They have three. They have three in this country. Yes. They have the Oduduwa, they have Ayisa, they have OPC, Oduduwa People's Congress. They have the Igbo Yoruba. Now, but they cooperate. Most of the time, the leadership interact with each other. OHANEZE is the only one that have one.
And yet in that one, there's still no cooperation.
There was an attempt to form one disgruntled Igbo Union by the same people, by the same set of people, the same brothers and sisters.
To form Aka Ikenga.
They tried to form Igbo Union on WhatsApp, which is not existing. OHANEZE is one. Even in the north, I think they have two.
The Arewa also have two.
They have two, I think.
So you say that crisis is actually part of Nigeria?
It's part of our culture and tradition. If Nigerians can never sit under one umbrella.
So that is why that's why, like you allege now, that there are two apex body, one NUSA, one NICASA. And if there are two, how are they representing Nigeria? One, then two, who is the High Commission recognizing and relating with on citizenship issue?
Before, there was only one. Prior to fallout with the former ambassador, consul general, and I'm sure you know the history.
No, I don't. That's what I'm asking.
Okay. When there was a fallout, some people felt that there's necessity for a new organization to emerge. And that is why we say Nikasa is a child of necessity. And when the necessity came, the government embraced the available necessity. Let me use that word, available necessity. The reality of it is, the people the government sent here as civil servants, they are not here to represent the interests of any Nigerian. They are here to represent the interests of government of Nigeria. Yes, the consulate mission is to represent, to look after Nigerians. But remember, in looking after Nigeria, they're also looking after their own careers. And these are trained diplomats who are politicians. And the way a diplomat rule or politicians rule is divide and rule, whether we like it or not, whether we want to believe it or not. That is the truth. What they do is divide and rule. As far as I'm concerned, the president mission is working with everybody. That is the truth of the matter. I can say it categorically clear that the president, they are working with all Nigerians. Nigerian students go there, this one. And when they are given slots, even when they did their last Independence Day, they gave them slot to Nikasa before, or 2 or 3 before they complained. They gave them slot like others. Unlike when NUSA, listen, when NUSA was the only umbrella of Nigerian association, whenever Nigerian mission is organizing any event, NUSA lists who and who to come. And until such things can start to happen, there is no umbrella association. In quotes, what we have is a recognized government association, unquote. Because there is difference between being recognized and people recognizing you. The true umbrella association should be the one to tell the mission, we are organizing Independence Day, we need 500 guests. This is the list of the 300 guests from Nigeria, which comprises of Arewa, the Nursing Association, Professional Association, Doctors Association, Students Association. The umbrella association should be able to coordinate the activities of all those associations. And as presently, there is no association that does that. So as far as we are concerned, in the practical sense of it, Nigerians in South Africa do not have an umbrella association.
So they're
what
like
we
orphans.
have are divided.
Nigerians in South Africa are like orphans.
You are orphans. What we have is a government recognized association, which is Nikasa. That is the reality. I'm a board of trustee of Nikasa. I do not hide it. But I have to say the truth the way it is.
That NUSA
If
also deals
Nikasa
with
is the umbrella association of Nigeria, Nikasa will not be giving invitation to come to occasion.
Okay, as we close finally, what is the relationship between Nikasa and OHANEZE and Nikasa on one hand, OHANEZE and NUSA in another hand, and then OHANEZE and the Nigerian High Commission and Consulate in another hand?
Thank you very much. The relationship between OHANEZE and NUSA is very, very good. All OHANEZE activities, NUSA are invited. Members of NUSA, some of them are members of our state leaders, some of them are in IMOB, some of them are in National and Provincial Council of OHANEZE. OHANEZE have never disowned NUSA. OHANEZE have never for once released a statement that NUSA is no more Association of Nigerians in South Africa. The relationship between OHANEZE and NICASA is good. And it will be of interest for you to know that the President General of OHANEZE is among the founding fathers of NICASA. In fact, he is among the first 2 people or 3 people that formed the President NICASA before he left the organization. And OHANEZE have never OHANEZE attend NICASA event. Some of the state leaders are BOT trustees, are BOT member. The secretary of is always the cultural arm of OHANEZE, is the BOT chairman in presence of Chief Felix Chuksokoye, a respected leader in the community. Is the board of trustee member. Many people in OHANEZE, including my very self, are having positions in NICASA. But OHANEZE as a body relate equally with NICASA, with NUSA, and the relationship between OHANEZE and the 2 missions is very, very cordial. OHANEZE go directly to them. OHANEZE don't go through NICASA. OHANEZE don't go through NUSA. OHANEZE goes straight to the mission and relate directly with the mission. That is the truth of
the mission at times might be getting confused because too many people will just coming straight to them. Like you said,
that
there's no organization among Nigerians.
That is why I told you that the word Apex in practicality do not exist. There's no Apex body of Nigerian Association as it stands. Because, for instance, when a new High Commission comes in, everybody starts going there. This society, Actors Grid, and this DJ Association, this one will start going there. NICASA will also go there as an association. NUSA will also go there as an association. Because if there is an umbrella, the umbrella will coordinate everything. But as it stands, there is no umbrella. The thing is, the mission work with everybody, but the mission recognize NICASA as the umbrella. But in practicality, it is not. And the mission knows, and the NICASA is not being treated as the umbrella by the 2 missions. In both.
There's a tendency for the model that is being used for Nigerians in South Africa has a tendency of creating crisis among Nigerians themselves because there'll be competition to have access to the Nigerian missions, and that can create a lot of bad blood and infighting among Nigerians.
Don't be surprised that more will still emerge until Nigerians can sit together and iron out their differences as one, the way it was before, come as one umbrella and go to the mission and say, this is our umbrella body. Remember, the mission cannot dictate umbrella body for the people. It is the people that decide who will be their king, not the government that will decide who will be the king.
Sure. Okay, so there's a lot of, as it is back home, so it is in South Africa. The kind of division in Nigeria is also has been exported into South Africa. So it's more of a personality and character and ego issue among Nigerians. But thank you very much for your time, Chief Louis Achinze. We appreciate your insight and also giving us from the historical perspective to the dynamics of OHANEZE and the future of OHANEZE, and particularly how it is structured in South Africa. We really do appreciate. We couldn't have had a better information and education. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians that watch and also will continue to watch will be better informed. And we wish you well in all your community activities, effort to be able to eventually unite OHANEZE and develop a more cordial relationship with other people. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your attending this interview.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored. I appreciate more growth to your television station and more growth to your program.
We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, viewers, that is it. I'm sure you've listened to Chief Louis Achinze on the relationship with OHANEZE in South Africa and the relationship with OHANEZE in Nigeria, and also the relationship among the Igbos under OHANEZE and all the other sub-ethnic groups that are also seen as Igbos or fringe Igbos or whatever it is. And you've also seen the kind of unity and division that exists among South Africans. So it's been an engaging and also very educative and enlightening session that we've had with Chief Achinze. We will try to see how, as a media house, we can try to bring Nigerians together and also bring OHANEZE together, so that, being the largest cultural organization in South Africa, they have a role to play in trying to also unite Nigeria, and particularly on education, educating the Nigerians that live in South Africa, and if it has to be formal education or any kind of education, so that we can stay above waters and also be very united. But we will pursue that matter further, and we'll try to get other people that we can talk to and see how these compromises can be reached until we come your way next time. My name is James Akpan, and from Akpan'S Diary, the flagship show for Age Television. Thank you, and until we see you again, God bless you.
In this age and times comes great ideas, sweet memories,
New techniques.
untold stories about Africa and the world at large. Guess what? The new age brings on board a brand name in broadcasting technology.
Introducing
Age Television.
At Age Television, we serve you with professionalism
In news and event coverage,
live streaming, documentaries,
artist management,
video and photography.
social media management, and lots more.
For inquiries, call us on +27 061 773 9628.
Or 027 064 543 0136.
You can also send us WhatsApp messages on 078 229 4593.
YouTube, HTV/Durban. Tweet us at HTV Durban.
Facebook at HTV Durban.
Instagram at HTV.Durban.
Email us at htvdurban@gmail.com.
Visit our website on www.htv.co.za. Age Television, celebrating the uncelebrated.